Okay, which one is more elastic? Demand curve 1 or demand curve 2? Now what you're looking for, and I'm sorry it took so long to draw this, it's a little tricky when you're drawing it. So what you're looking for is greater change in quantity demand. So whichever demand curve has a greater change in quantity demand is more elastic. How do you know which curve has a greater change in quantity demand? So these are two prices. At P2, demand 2 curve, the QD was here. And at P1, price 1, for demand 2, the quantity demand is here. But for D1, so this is the change in quantity demand for D2. For D1, at this price level, quantity demand was here. At this price level, quantity demand is here. Sorry. So this entire region is the change in quantity demand, which is bigger than this small change in quantity demand. So D1 is more elastic because change in quantity demand due to change in price is larger, is bigger. In general, the more flatter or the more horizontal a curve is, the more elastic it is. So, in general, the more horizontal a demand curve is, the more elastic it is. Because when it's horizontal, the change in quantity demand is greater. When it's horizontal.
The more horizontal it decrease, horizontal decrease or demand curve.
In general, the more horizontal a demand curve is, so you see D1 here is more horizontal, more flatter. This one is more vertical. So the more horizontal a curve is, the more elastic it is. The more greater the change in quantity demand is. Like in this one, the quantity demand change is greater as a result of price than compared to D2. It's small. And that's what we're calculating too, right? The responsiveness to price, the responsiveness of quantity demand. Okay. Okay.
Question? What does that second sentence say?
In general, the more...
Oh, no, the top one.
The top, whichever, the D1?
Yeah.
D1 is more elastic because quantity demand, because change. Triangle means change.
Okay.
D1 is more elastic because change in quantity demand due to change in price is bigger. You know the delta sign whenever you calculate delta, like calculates change in anything. So that's what.
A change in quantity demand, I don't know, between quantity demand and two, what's the meaning?
Sorry?
After the change in quantity demand between two. In blue color, yeah, this one.
Change.
Change in quantity demand, the last
Due
one.
to
Oh yeah,
change in
yeah,
price.
I couldn't read you.
Due.
Thank you.
Okay, take a picture or something if you can't draw it. So basically, like, even if you can't draw the thing right, you need to understand that the more horizontal curve is going to be more elastic because the change in quantity demand will be greater for a horizontal curve. So if you got this part written down in your notes, even if your graph is not so perfect, it's okay. So this is perfectly elastic curve.
Like this.
Any change in price, so this is P1, would change quantity demand extremely. It will shift it up. So perfectly elastic demand curve. Elasticity is to infinity. Basically a small increase in price will cause huge decrease in quantity demand, and a small decrease in price will cause huge increase in quantity demand. So perfectly elastic demand curve is horizontal, flat.
Does that say negative infinity?
Yeah, elasticity is negative, that's fine. This is quantity. This is perfectly inelastic. If this is the original price and this is the new price, quantity demand does not change. So it doesn't matter the increase or decrease in price. It could go up, it could go down, but quantity demand, it remains the same at this point. It's not changing. So percent change in quantity demand is equal to 0. So healthcare is highly inelastic. Price increases. People don't stop buying healthcare. So why are some goods highly elastic and others are not? So what determines an elasticity of a product? Necessity versus luxury. Necessity products are more inelastic. Example, healthcare. Luxury products are more inelastic. Luxury products are more elastic. So if there is a luxury product and the price changes, let's say increases by a lot, people will react to the increase in price and stop buying the product because it's a luxury, it's not compulsory or necessary. But if it's a necessity product and the price goes up, but you absolutely gotta have it, then you're still gonna buy it. You will be inelastic or not responsive to the change in price. So that's what determines the responsiveness, whether it's a necessity product or a luxury product. So number one, necessity versus luxury. Number two is number of substitutes. The more substitutes available for the product, the more elastic. The more substitutes available for the product, the more elastic. So if you have alternatives and other options available, you will be more elastic, more responsive to change in price, right? So like a gas station, same thing, like if there are 10, 20 gas stations on the street and one is charging a very high price, then you're gonna go to the other one, right? You're gonna be very responsive to it. Why? Because you have other options available. You have other substitute gas stations available. Alternative cars, so like gas cars, if gas prices continue to go up in the next decade or something, people are going to start to buy more electric cars. So, because that's a better alternative for them. So they'll be responsive to increase in gas prices for the next decade. Okay. Number 3, % of income the good represents. So the proportion of income spent on the product. The higher the percentage of income a good represents, the higher elastic response is. The higher the percentage of income a good represents, the higher elasticity. The higher the elasticity, more responsive. So basically, more expensive, more responsive. Example, rent goes up 10%, and it is, your rent is your, I don't know, half of your income. Rent is half of your income. You will look for other